Fam, good evening and welcome to, to the show. Sorry, we were having a very interesting conversation leading into this, but I want to start off with I hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I know I certainly enjoyed mine. Lots of good food and apps. We'll definitely talk about it. But if you're catching us later on Spotify, Apple Music, make sure to tune into our live streams. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch is our newest outlet. We're also on Twitter. Anywhere you could possibly imagine people being live and streaming, we're there. So,
except for OnlyFans, not yet.
Not yet. We're working on it.
It hasn't come to that yet.
TBD.
I mean, it basically was OnlyFans last week. We did a live show for you guys.
Yeah.
So
I showed my feet.
I mean, if you're into that type of thing, not gonna judge it. But gentlemen, Thanksgiving, how was it?
It's good, man.
It's more about the time off for me.
Yeah, but
because I hate the food. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm glad it's gone.
What food do you specifically like?
You just hate the food in general.
I don't like Thanksgiving.
We gotta talk about this.
Let's not talk about the dishes, the main dish. Let's talk about Thanksgiving is all about the sides.
It's all about sides, bro.
Sure. Yeah.
You're not.
Fine.
So you hate. Aaron hates mac and cheese.
I don't like mac and cheese. I'm the only person in the country who doesn't. Yeah.
We went over this last night.
Are you lactose intolerant? I was hammered,
No,
dude. I don't remember this conversation.
No, I'm not lactose intolerant. I like good food. You know.
Yeah, pasta. Ew.
Yeah.
Cheese,
yeah, it's so gross. Just noodle, butter, and cheese.
Yeah, here's the other thing. I'm not a huge butter guy either.
Mm-hmm. So sub butter for mayonnaise.
Depends on what it is, but yeah. I mean, I can just eat sweet corn on its own.
Yeah,
Chad, this has been a great show. We'll catch you guys next week.
No, but dude, I said last week, I love stuffing, but I think the reason I love stuffing is because I eat it once a year. I'm certainly not on April 3rd.
So you're taking stuffing over mac and cheese. I just want to make sure that this is.
Oh, a million.
I am too, actually.
Yeah, 1,000,000%.
I'm a big stuffing guy.
Especially for Thanksgiving. Here's the thing. I don't even like mac and cheese, but it's the fact that when you're not having stuffing in April.
I mean, this is coming from a household of a corn-fed little boy. Stuffing was a regular side dish in our house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love mashed potatoes. Mashed potatoes are good.
I've learned something new about you guys today.
Yeah,
and I just don't like turkey. I know you're talking about the sides, but turkey is
fucking weird.
So
the worst meat.
It's dry chicken. Totally get it.
It's disgusting.
I understand the turkey argument. 100%.
That said, I had the best turkey I've ever had in my life this Thanksgiving.
Was it smoked?
It was.
See, I'll eat some smoked turkey, but I like a leg.
It was juicy. Oh, you gotta go dark meat. You gotta go dark meat.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're sitting there going.
No, man,
off the roof of your mouth.
I kind of just take a. My strategy is I start on one side of the plate and I just scoop, and whatever's on the fork at the end of it. That's what's going in.
There's nothing quite better than you get a little cranberry sauce, a little turkey, a little stuffing, and a little mashed potatoes to hold it all together and get that in one bite.
Yeah,
ideal.
Give me to Christmas. Christmas is the far superior dinner.
Yeah, ham.
You're saying ham,
or if you do a nice little prime rib or whatever you're doing, whatever it might be.
A Christmas rib roast,
like a roast.
Ooh,
yeah, fuck around.
Real nice.
Christmas fucks, dude. Here's the one thing I will say I appreciate about Thanksgiving: the collective agreement that we're like, let's eat at 2:30 or 3.
I also love
there's nothing better than eating early.
Low pressure Thanksgiving is as a holiday. Low pressure.
Old people have low pressure out, bro.
We did go on we took the dog and ourselves on a 6-mile hike before, which was smart because then you're like, all right, let's dig in.
Did I burn $800? I'm gonna eat 7,000.
Exactly. I was like, let's get the let's walk in with a deficiency. And yeah, I just in general though, I'm sorry. Thanksgiving is great. I love the football. Football isn't that great. Football isn't that great.
So we've talked about the dinner. No. So where do you stand on Thanksgiving desserts? Where do those?
Also, not a big pumpkin pie guy. I'm not a big pumpkin
pie. What about pecan pie?
Pecan pie is great. I'll eat apple pie any time of year.
I had an apple pie where the crust was made of cinnamon rolls.
What?
Whoa!
Yeah, that shit
Did you have to salute the flag before eating?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's only natural as an American, and. We had these. My stepmom makes homemade peanut butter fudge every year. It's ridiculous. So good.
Dude, is it the type of fudge where you eat like 3 or 4 pieces and then you feel like you could have congestive heart failure right after you eat it?
Vaguely,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's good.
It's pretty much a jar of peanut butter and a jar of like marshmallow fluff with some confectionery sugar.
Like you take a drink of beer and it like real slowly goes down your throat because it's coated in all the peanut butter from the fudge.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's a good feel. I like that feeling a lot.
Yeah.
My best part of Thanksgiving is we got home and then there's a bar down the street from us that's open 365. Like they're open Thanksgiving and Christmas. It's like kind of their thing.
Mm-hmm. Jehovah's
so-
Witnesses, yeah.
Yeah, right. It's a Jehovah's Witness run bar. No, but we went up there after, and it was like that was my favorite part because like it was just me and my wife like at the
All right.
bar, and it was a good time.
You guys ready to get into this?
Yeah,
I don't
please.
know.
At this point,
Got on a Guinness kick. I was like, I'm gonna have some Guinness,
There you go. That a boy. It's Guinness season.
and then I bought some.
There he
there
is.
you go. There you go. All right. Last week, so the best week for the panel here was Todd at 11-5.
Yay!
Todd finally taking a week. Congratulations, sir. It's been long overdue. Corey came in at 10-6. I was 9-7. Aaron was 8-8. Chat did way better than we did on average this week. Pops went 13-3 this week, boys.
Damn.
Solid week.
Big
Solid
week for Charles.
Josh went 11-5, taking a 2-game lead in the overall, and then Tez was 9-7. So
Tez coming in with a comment here too, trying to get a go blue from the panel. That was the question I wanted to ask Corey. What has Michigan been like this week back at work?
Honestly, little talk about it. There hasn't been a whole lot, which is, I think at this point they're just ready for the playoff. There has been some insane people trying to talk about that Michigan has a chance to win the national championship, and it's just, I think it's silly. I think they're just operating in different worlds at this point. 17 of the last 20 national champions have come from the SEC.
Yep.
There's been one from the Big Ten in the last 2 decades, and it wasn't Michigan. So, yeah, great win against Ohio State.
It was a good game.
It was a very entertaining game.
Very
Just like
good game.
JJ actually had a really nice touchdown throw outside.
came down to the end.
It came down to exactly what we thought it was going to be. Blake
Yeah,
Corum
McCord sucks. He's just not good.
Yeah. So, Ted's coming in. How is it silly? Because they've not proven otherwise. The Big Ten has not proven otherwise. I literally just said why it's silly. 17 out of 20 national champions have been from the SEC. I think that trend continues. Here's a question before we get into the picks.
Yeah.
And this is the question that's going around everywhere, and I'm just curious as to everyone's perspective on how we handle it. Let's Michigan is going to handle Iowa soundly on Saturday in Indianapolis. The over-under, I believe, is somewhere at 33.
Okay.
With I believe they are projecting Michigan at minus 21. They're projecting Iowa to not score a touchdown.
Really?
That's hilarious.
The over under for first half or second half for Iowa in the game is 0.5.
Yeah. This is
Are you
abysmal.
serious?
It's
One
abysmal.
point?
Serious.
Have you
Their
watched
offense
4
is
quarters?
terrible.
It's insane how bad
Terrible.
it
So
is.
why don't we just get a rematch for the Big Ten championship?
Well, because that's just
Well,
the
that's
way it
not how
works.
it works. It's 2 sides of the Big Ten, so it's the East and the West or whatever. It
Lord
is.
knows the latter would make
The
more money.
leaders and legends or whatever the hell they call them now.
Yeah, Tez saying, "Come on, man! I could see if the SEC was dominant as usual, but it's not. Therefore, it's not. I don't understand how it's not dominant.
I mean, I like to Tez's point, like there's
It's not as strong.
there's
as it
only
has
so many
been.
teams that are
On what
literally up for,
basis? Georgia's on a 30-game winning streak.
they just don't look like the same Georgia that we've seen.
Sure.
So
Okay, I get why people are saying that, but I
They
think
look like they lost all their starters last year.
Little bit of a come down. So okay, they lost their starters last year. Stetson Bennett was their quarterback. Their quarterback's playing better than Stetson Bennett did the last 2 seasons.
I think it's in the same way that we talked about the MVP in football last year, where it's like, or last week, where it's like if there's gonna be a year that it's not a quarterback, to win it. This is the year. So I actually agree with Tez. I don't think it's silly at all, especially because there's literally only 4 teams that can do it. And Michigan seems poised to be one, barring something ridiculous happening.
So yeah, that would be insane if they lost. Obviously they would
be
out.
Hilarious.
So let's say obviously Michigan wins. They're in, right? You can't not take that.
I mean, of course.
You can't do it. They're in. Let's say Washington beats Oregon. They're underdogs actually against Oregon on Saturday. 6.5 points, 4.5.
That's a Friday. That's the Friday night. Power 5 championship.
Getting things started off.
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's best one of the weekend.
So then we've got that one. Let's say Washington wins. They pull off the upset and Washington wins. Let's say Georgia loses to Alabama and Texas wins the Big 12. Florida State, let's just say Florida State loses. Just for the sake of argument, Florida State's out of the conversation, just to make things a little bit easier here. We can overcomplicate things if we'd like by saying Florida State beats Louisville on Saturday for the ACC championship, goes undefeated. You've got Washington, undefeated, Pac-12 champ. Michigan, undefeated, Big 10 champion. Texas, 1 loss, Big 12 champion. Alabama, 1 loss, SEC champion. Georgia, 1 loss, back-to-back national champion, who's won 30 of their previous games, not against Alabama, in the SEC championship this year. Who doesn't get in that situation? Do you not let the SEC championship champion get in because Texas won earlier? Who doesn't get in?
I don't really know. That's a good question. I mean, it's hard to argue against Texas because they would have won, the Big 12. But it's also hard for me to not let the defending champion in with the same, 1 loss.
Yeah, I think
and a loss in a conference championship is a more impressive loss to me than a regular season game.
Yeah, I think this is probably one of those scenarios where Bama wins the SEC and they still don't get in, and Georgia still gets in.
You don't take the SEC. You would have revolt. Here's what I would do. Michigan.
Nick Saban would have a coronary.
Yeah, it'd be insane. Michigan would get in. Alabama would get in because they won the SEC. Georgia would get in because that's the only loss that they have. Like Aaron was saying, it's a good loss. And you put in Texas because they beat the SEC champion earlier this season in Alabama. And Washington, undefeated, sits at home because they're in the Pac-12.
And this is exactly why I don't watch college football.
I think that's what should happen.
It should happen? 8 teams.
It should absolutely happen. Absolutely. We're on our way to 12, if I'm not mistaken, here next season or the season after.
Yeah, next season.
We're on our way to 12.
Rackley, what's up, brother?
Going to be interesting. But
we'll dive into that Jags game soon.
If you're going to ask Bobby about anything from last week, don't bother.
Yeah, he's fucked up. It's not fair. But, hey, just one more comment about Georgia. They hung 52 points on the number 8 team in the country in Ole Miss. They have not given up more than 21 points all year. So
it's a good argument. I think they still win.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
They're the best team in the country.
All right, you boys ready to get into it?
Let's go.
All right, perfect. First game on the slate tomorrow night. We have the Seattle Seahawks coming off a bye week, taking on the Cowboys in Dallas, coming off an absolutely dominant win against a divisional opponent, the Commanders. We're going to let Todd lead this one off, the champion from last week. Lead us off, sir. Who you got?
Yes. So interesting matchup. I think we've pretty much determined that Kenneth Walker III will not be playing tomorrow, which means we're going to get to kind of get the introduction to full-time Zach Charbonnet, which I think is the direction that Seattle kind of wants to go. But the Cowboys are playing well, fellas. Dak Prescott's playing very, very well right now. They have not played a ton of good opponents recently, right? So we're still kind of in that that infinite circle of like, oh, the Cowboys have 8 wins, but they haven't beaten anybody, right? We're in that loop right now.
Are we putting them and the Dolphins in the same?
Yeah, I was gonna say
category?
they're the NFC Dolphins.
Yeah, so I think the Seahawks are underwhelming based on what I thought they were going to be. Yeah. Over the last 4 or 5 weeks, I think that they've really they're the the biggest fall, in my opinion, based on kind of like the outside parameters of injury and whatnot. And I think the Cowboys, they continue to play hot, and I think they handle Seattle tomorrow night.
Corey.
Want to give a couple of shout outs to Josh, Tez, and John for liking the stream. Appreciate you guys doing that. If you're watching right now and you haven't liked and shared, what do you fucking doing? Help us out. I don't know if I'm ready to say the Cowboys are the NFC Dolphins. I don't know because I think the quarterback play is better. I think that's what's kind of separating it for me. I think it's a little bit more consistent as to what I'm seeing out of the Cowboys right now, just at least over the last 5 weeks. And Dak, absolutely MVP candidate. Yeah, I think they win big here. Seattle is kind of falling out a little bit here, and I don't necessarily trust them to get out of wild card round. It's definitely can make the playoffs still, but I don't know if I'm taking them to win a playoff game this season.
Yeah,
Earl, we'll get to your comment in a second. Aaron, who you got?
Yeah, I mean, it's just two teams on two different escalators right now. One's going up, one's going down.
Fair enough.
This is a 9-point spread. Like it's the Cowboys. I agree though. Like Dak is absolutely an MVP candidate right now. And yeah, I mean the Cowboys are just absolutely rolling right now. That offense is firing on all cylinders. But yeah, I believe this would be their first win against a team with a winning record, which is why, Corey, I think it's fair to dub them on the same level as the Dolphins, just because I still think both of those teams are good. Right. There hasn't been enough for me to see against what they've done.
Yeah, I'm not gonna stray too far away from this one, guys. There's absolutely zero reason to fade you. I'm sorry, it's leaving me. Who's the defender on the Cowboys that has 5 pick sixes this year?
His name is Bland. That's his last name.
Is he a 6th round pick or a 4th round pick? I can't remember.
4th round pick.
He's a rookie, correct?
Yeah.
And he has 5 pick sixes.
Yeah,
this
pretty
season.
wild.
It's unreal.
Pretty wild.
Yeah.
What an unreal stat. You need to give that guy some flowers. It's just unbelievable. So
Yeah.
Cowboys roll this year, or roll this week, excuse me. And yeah, I got them heavy over the Seahawks. So we're gonna double back to the Michigan game for a grand total of 2 minutes tops. We're 17 minutes and 25 seconds into this stream. Was it a touchdown? Yes or no?
Yes.
Doesn't matter. Like yes, yeah.
Corey, thoughts?
I actually thought it was a pick, but
No fucking way. There's not enough to overturn that.
all right.
I think you have to stand with the
Doesn't
call on
matter,
the
but yeah.
field.
No.
I think if
That's kind of where I'm at.
I think if it's called a pick, it stays a pick. If it's called a touchdown, it stays a touchdown. Whatever way that it's ruled on the field, there's not enough to overturn it.
It is weird to
That's
me
my
though that
opinion.
it's like the catch rules
Yeah,
are just so much different in the end zone than anywhere else.
it is. And
Yeah.
I hate it. Because if that's on the sideline, it's a pick.
Because I do want to talk about the Bengals Steelers game last week and the touchdown that was not called a touchdown for Deontay Johnson, because I was with you guys. We'll get to it in a little bit. We'll talk about it later. Next game on the slate, boys.
You won.
I'm sorry.
You won.
Yeah, I know, but I still I wanted, in regards to catches and what is deemed a catch, what's not deemed a catch. I kind of want to dive into that a little bit, not
Let's do it.
the game in general. So
Yeah, I mean there was one in the Browns Broncos game too. The tight end getting the knee down, and it's like, is it it's for whatever reason the end zone is just different rules.
yeah, it's a completely different ball game, and I feel like I'm learning
Yeah,
new
but what
things
is the
every
reason?
year.
We
No.
need to know that. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like, what is that reason? Explain that to me.
I think it's the plane.
Well,
it's the same reason that
okay. Well, then I think like last season, Jamar Chase had a touchdown that he rolled, and then the ball came up out of his hand when on his way up, but they called it not a touchdown because he didn't complete the process of the catch.
Correct.
I think
Like,
part
that's
of it
fucking stupid.
is you have a 10-yard zone, right? And anywhere else on the field, yards after catch is in play. So the play is over once the possession is made. You don't need to get any more yards after the catch. Now that's a very, easy way to put it, but I'm still with you. Like it still doesn't necessarily make sense to me.
So we'll go ahead and roll.
It's a special zone.
It's a good segue into the Steelers Cardinals 1:00 matchup.
It's a tough one.
Cardinals are taking things on the road to Pittsburgh. last week Steelers were on the road in Cincinnati. The catch in question was, I believe, is in the first quarter.
Yep.
Deontay Johnson,
Second drive,
catches the football. I personally thought it was an incomplete pass all the way. Even after they had kicked the field goal and moved on and they were at the kickoff, the announcers were still talking about it. And they referred back to Dean Blandino. And he said, guys, this is actually a touchdown. Here's why. He said Deontay got 3 feet in while establishing control. The play's dead. And then the ball came out. Because basically he compared it to once you cross the goal line, the play's dead. Even if somebody knocks it out after you break the plane, it's a touchdown. It's all about establishing yourself in the end zone with the ball. It doesn't matter what happens after that. And I was like, wow, I learned something new today, because I thought you had to complete the process of the catch if you go back to the Calvin Johnson, reason why this whole thing is a freaking rule. So it's like there's a lot of back and forth on it.
So fucking stupid.
What do you guys think about that? Because I said, I still think it's not a catch, but they said it was. So I'm confused.
I just think it's such a big piece of the game to be so vague.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
That's the right point. It's the fact that all these end zone rules are so vague and it can be overturned or upheld either direction. And then you kind of have to watch it in slow motion over and over and over again. And you get swayed in the opposite direction. That's where I get frustrated. Let's talk about the fucking fumble or interception or strip touchdown in Michigan and Ohio State, where they slow it down to, half the speed and you can watch the whole play happen. But in real time, there's no way to fucking figure that out, right? Same thing with the Deontay Johnson situation. There's no way to determine 1 step, 2 step, 3 step, whatever it is. It's
right.
When things get in the end zone, it feels like that anything that's a general rule on the field completely it's turned upside down. And I'm so fucking sick. I'm sick and tired of talking about it.
It's not just that. It's not just catches though. The officiating is fucking horrendous.
Officiating this past week was.
Explain to me how you throw a flag for holding. In order to throw a flag for holding, what has to happen, Todd? Oh, you have to see holding in order to throw a flag for holding. Explain to me how you do that. I'm referring to the Najee Harris touchdown. Massive momentum shift in that game. Steelers still probably win, but a massive moment nonetheless. You throw a flag for holding and then decide, no, there wasn't holding. There's no flag for holding on the play. Touchdown. How does that fucking happen in any way, shape, or form? I don't understand the logic behind. You know what? I know you saw holding, but I was standing actually on a different side of the field and it wasn't holding. Where do we come to that fucking? Just walk me through this dumb fucking process.
I'm okay with the refs getting together to talk about it.
Sure, in some instances, like on a catch on a sideline, when you have two officials from different vantage points.
In theory, I'm saying.
But when you have a line judge throwing a fucking holding flag, and then an official in the back, or the ref or something, or the umpire is seeing something different and telling him, no, that wasn't a hold, pick up the flag. You have to see a hold to throw a flag for a hold. Yeah. The whole, it's a different thing, but besides, is that a catch, or was it his foot out of bounds, or did he get forced out of bounds? Those are different things that you could talk about. You have to see a hold to throw a flag for a hold. It's silly.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, Todd.
No, this is just a perpetual conversation that we have about officiating year over year, and it doesn't improve, right? That's the whole thing, is that it's easy for us to recognize all of these faults within the game and put them on the forefront, but there's no action being taken about it. So then I get my point of frustration comes from I watch a game and get so physically frustrated with how poorly it's officiated that I'm getting mad over something that I have no control over. But the problem is that as you're watching the game, certain penalties like that, right? So Corey, the penalty you're alluding to is a momentum shifter because of, you're talking about it being what? 2nd and 18 versus a touchdown or something like that on that play, or 3rd and 18 instead of a touchdown.
Yeah.
That's where you get frustrated. But guys, there's nobody being held accountable for this shit. So why are we getting so mad about it?
Well, like we give a fuck about these
I know,
games.
But I'm at a point now where I can't I've been so pissed about it for so long. I don't know. I can't add any value to it because I just get fucking worked up, and
here's my only solution for this. The reason my biggest conspiracy theory on why officiating has been so bad is because gambling
The NFL
is now
loves
legal.
The Steelers.
No, gambling is now legal, and I think that there's a lot of I personally think there's a lot of Vegas in these.
Think we're getting a little NBA, a little mid 2000s NBA action going on?
That's just a conspiracy theory.
My only issue with that, Bobby, is like you said, Vegas. Like gambling has been legal for a very, very long time.
Yeah, but it's now.
This
more
isn't
accessible.
new. It's just more accessible, right?
Yeah,
it's more accessible, and there's a hell of a lot more money flowing into it. But the easiest solution to this is just like they're fining a bunch of players for shit that they shouldn't be fined for. They should be fining referees for missed calls and bad calls.
You can't do that because these refs aren't full-time employees.
No, they're part-time independent contractors.
That's the first solution. That's the first solution.
Yeah.
Full-time employees with off-season training,
continuing education,
all of it. Yeah, you get a 100%. Little off-season break, but when OTAs start, OTAs for refs start as well. And refs should have to sit in front of a fucking microphone as well. This is what we saw.
I agree with that.
Oh, like post-game interviews?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to hear it. I want to hear it.
If you're going to make the coach do it, if you're going to make the guy who just lost the game for his town get up there and have to face the music, I don't. But
should we let the coaches interview the?
No. Should let the media. But I will say too, from like a conspiracy standpoint, conspiracies aren't easier with more eyeballs on it. Mm-hmm. Is my only thing. So like, I don't want to go down the conspiracy trail, but the first thing you got to do is make them full-time employees. Like the NFL can't afford it. Like that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
There needs to be continuing education training, like Corey was mentioning.
Yep.
I'm completely fine with them needing, or at the very least, the crew chief answer the question. Like I don't necessarily get the assistant coach after every game, leading a post-game conference, but the head referee for the crew, who should be compensated like the head referee for the crew, should have to sit there and answer questions for his crew.
Yeah, agreed. All right, let's get into the picks here. Everybody in the chat has the Steelers. Aaron, Cardinals on the road in Pittsburgh. Who you got?
Yeah, I got to take the Steelers. It's hard to keep going against them. Kyler didn't look great last week against the Rams. Stat line wise,
the bird
was okay. Yeah, I mean they definitely are a much more dynamic team with him behind center. There's absolutely no doubt. Ironically enough, the Steelers get over 400 yards. Let's go. No more Matt Canada, right?
Yeah.
Didn't necessarily translate on the scoreboard, but just fucking hilarious to me that the first game without him, they go over 400.
Did I send, was it Corey, was it you and Todd that I sent that TikTok where it was like the Office meme?
Yeah, I couldn't watch it. It's too soon, Bob.
I'm sorry, but it was just like, it was so funny.
Wanted to fucking
it was the scene where Andy bets the staff that they can't hit a certain mark with sales, or he'll get like an ass tattoo.
Yep.
And he's like, they did it in one day.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm right in step here, guys. I'm following true to the rule. You don't bet on the red bird after you cut the bird. Do not bet on the Cardinals after Thanksgiving. That is a Rally Towel Sports commandment. It is in stone. We are all about that. And so we're going to stick to it. Steelers get another one.
Todd?
Isn't it crazy? Pat Freiermuth comes back and all of a sudden Kenny Pickett can throw for fucking.
Hey, no, you know what? You know what's crazy? Oh, this is so crazy. The Steelers tight end has success against the Bengals. Whoa, that's just fucking.
I know.
Never seen that fucking movie before. God,
No,
we make poor man's Jason Witten look like fucking Tony Gonzalez.
You guys made Heath Miller look like a Hall of Famer.
Heath Miller looks like a Hall of Famer. If you just extrapolate every Heath Miller game against the Bengals and just if he averaged that for his career, he's the greatest tight end of all time. It's not even close.
Yeah,
it's not even close.
No, but I think it helps Kenny Pickett
and
a lot.
He probably fucking owns an insurance agency right now.
That's hilarious.
Heath Miller and Associates.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm taking the Steelers, fellas. There's no reason to bet on the Cardinals.
Yeah, absolutely. Give me Pittsburgh. Obviously, that offense looked so much better. I think Pat Freiermuth's a much bigger piece of that offense. Kenny Pickett has a check down that he's just 100%.
Pickett had a couple of good balls on Sunday.
Yeah, he had
couple of bad ones, but
two,
couple of
three
good
balls
ones.
like that he put in tight windows over the middle. Right over coverage. Just it was nice to see him actually execute some throws. So.
Well, this is also the offensive coordinator that got the Giants through 2 Super Bowls, so don't forget that. It's a totally different dynamic of play calling.
Yeah, I mean, and now that they've got not less than a week, they've got the entire 2 weeks under their belt. I think we see some good things start to come, and Najee Harris looked great last week as well. I think we're going to see him bounce back towards the end of the season here and see a more balanced run game between him and Jalen Warren, because I think they are one of the nastiest 1-2 punches in the NFL when used correctly. So. All right, boys. Next game on the slate, we got a divisional matchup here. We got the Colts coming off 7-point win over the Panthers last week, taking on the Titans, who played the Buccaneers last week, I believe. Or I have that backwards. Titans played the Panthers. Colts played the Bucs. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Both 7-point wins. Pretty close games up until the end. Corey, lead us off.
Sorry,
Indianapolis Colts
game?
Indianapolis Colts versus the Titans. This is in Tennessee.
Gotcha. I've actually been pleasantly surprised out of how good the Colts are at being mediocre. And I think they're playing a below mediocre team. That is my logic, and I'm sticking to it. Give me the Colts here.
Aaron.
This is a coin toss, guys. It's going to be a weird divisional matchup, just like they always all are. It's a 1-point game on the spread for the Colts here. I'm going to take the Titans on a flyer for the sake of trying to get back in this thing. But I also had them before coming into this, just because. Listen, the Colts are playing good. Like, they're definitely playing above where they should with Gardner. They're a playoff team right now. The season ends right now, and the Colts are in the playoffs, which is completely wild. Now, with Jonathan Taylor being out for what looks like 2 to 3 weeks, who has looked really, really good, 2 touchdowns last week. Now, Moss has been fantastic in backup work this year, so I don't necessarily think that you're going to see the offense miss a beat too much. But I also think the Titans are playing pretty well. Derrick Henry looks to be coming back into form as well. Levis has looked okay. I'm gonna take the Titans here for the simple fact that it's a coin toss and they're at home.
Hey, Bobby, did we get standings, by the way?
Yes. So, sorry, you meant overall.
Overall. I
don't think I went overall this week. That is my apologies.
It's okay.
All right. So after last week, Corey takes a 2-game lead and sits in front. So congratulations, Corey. I think it's
Aaron and I tied last week.
You were. You got a couple.
I got
back
3. I got 3
week.
different than him last week. I thought, but I could be wrong.
No, 2-game lead. Let me see here. So you
Challenge
were
flag.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You were 10-6. 2, 3, 4,
Aaron was 8-8.
5, 6. Yeah, 8-8.
Okay.
So
Must have missed one. Okay.
only 2 games. So
There was one last week. I remember I did get back on you, and I'm trying to remember which one it was.
Carolina, Tennessee.
Yes.
But I had Giants, you had New England, I had Rams, you had Cardinals, I had Broncos, you had Browns. So yeah, that'd be 2.
That'd be net 2, correct?
Fucking just special needs. Okay.
it's okay. Yeah, I have it. I have it on a spreadsheet here, so it's really hard to look at. So I appreciate you fact checking me. All right, yeah. So Corey's got the overall lead here. Aaron is sitting in second at 116-64. I am in third, 5 games back at 113-67. Todd is at 111-69, 7 games back.
So I'm right back in this thing, boys.
Yeah,
You
Todd's,
better.
You had a great week, man.
You better watch them cheeks, fellas, because I'm coming at you hot.
Todd's
Well, right now you're
in our
watching our
cheeks.
cheeks. Yeah.
Josh
I'm gonna
has the overall lead
those things.
for the chat. Josh is sitting out front. Tez is 2 games back. I'll have to compare win percentages. I haven't done that yet. Pops, you're 67-39, which is a damn good percentage. So I will get that configured here in a little while. But as far as the Titans Colts, I went Corey, Aaron, Todd. Who you got?
I'm taking the Titans because they're at home. I think both of these teams aren't very good.
Yeah, this is a tough game. This is a tough game. Tez rolling with the Titans. Pop's taking the Colts. Yeesh. I mean, Jonathan Taylor's not playing this week. You know, Zach Moss has been nice. You know, as Aaron had previously mentioned. I don't know what I want to do here, boys. I was kind of hoping you guys were going to sway me one way or the other, and nobody really.
Corey's trying to right now.
Talk a ton, but I will even it out and roll with Corey.
Fuck it.
Corey wanted the lone wolf. I'm not going to give it to him this week.
Smart choice, Bob.
I'm going to hedge my bets here and try to split it down the middle. And
boys,
see.
I'm so excited for Sunday football. Obviously, the Bengals are playing on Monday. I am going to be in Jacksonville for this game.
Nice.
I get all Sunday to just be in mid-70 weather watching NFL football.
That's pretty sick.
It's going to be dope as fuck. Saturday? I'm going to be Saturday in Jacksonville for Championship Saturday.
What are you doing down there?
Going to the Bengals game.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to the Bengals game.
Hell yeah.
Bengals Jags Monday night.
Got it.
All right. So just as we talked about the winners of last week's games, the Colts and the Titans, we're going to talk about the losers of both of those games. The Panthers are on the road in Tampa, taking on the Buccaneers. Todd, lead us off. Panthers on the road in Tampa. Who you got?
Well, I'm going to take Tampa Bay just for the simple fact that Carolina's in a fucking war zone down there. Is Tepper the worst owner in the NFL?
Maybe.
Seriously.
I don't know how you can argue it.
About
I don't. I mean, for like what he's done in 2 years, yeah. I wouldn't like having Jim Irsay at the helm personally.
Yeah, good call there.
Like because of the cocaine?
It's the cocaine for me.
Yeah. You don't want any of this cocaine.
But also, yeah, no, he's got classic, I'm a billionaire. This is how I was able to buy this team. And it's this shiny new toy. And I think he's paying $40 million for the coach prior and now $30 million for this one.
Yeah, let me tell.
Not my money.
Can I just tell you a story I heard about this guy today? Because I think this is podcast worthy of sharing. So
Please
he
do.
was watching, I believe it was the Commanders-Bears Thursday night game when the Bears won their first game. And they ran a fake reverse with Justin Fields where he faked a reverse to going left and ran right. The next day at practice, he went to Frank Reich's office with a piece of paper and said, I want you to run this play. What's an NFL owner do? Dude, what? That's I compare it to like you buy a bakery and you go to the bread maker and go like, hey, I went to this bakery a few blocks over and their sourdough tastes better. I got the recipe, make this sourdough. Just fuck right off. Get out of here. Yeah, get out of here. In what world does an owner of an NFL franchise walk into a head coach's office with a piece of paper and go, run this play for me?
Yeah,
That's a power move right there.
Yeah,
it's not a
franchises
power
that aren't run well.
That's idiocracy. I mean, I can't imagine. And no wonder Frank Reich, after he got fired, was like, yeah, I'm done with the NFL. Of course he is. Yeah. That has to be the worst experience to have an owner just walk in your office and be like, I want you to run this play. I'm not going to draft you the quarterback that your offense is built for. I'm going to draft you an under 6 foot quarterback that doesn't stay in the pocket for more than a second. And then I'm going to tell you what kind of plays to run with that quarterback that has been unsuccessful in scrambling this year. We'll see how it goes. And I'm going to give him no weapons. I'm going to pay
not for
10-year
nothing.
vet first wide receiver money. It's a fucking wild scenario down there.
NFL coaches' contracts are guaranteed. And obviously he's going to get the money for being fired. I would just say no. This is what you hired me to do, and I'm going to do that. It's the same way.
He never did it, right? I'm just saying
that's how you get Brian Flores.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the yeah. I mean, just the stones. I guess it's not really stones. I think it's just So obviously, we talked about him being a billionaire. He comes from He comes from daddy money, and that's where his money comes from. He's just a hedge fund guy that got hedge fund money from dad, and it's just what
I would do too is buy a football
Sure. I'm not disputing what you're doing with your money. I'm just saying that it's this golden
more
spoon.
Chill about it.
The golden spoon world. Yeah, just back the fuck off.
Good call, coach.
I don't know. I can't imagine being in an organization like
I will
And
say
then
if
you're
I
just and he fucked them for 2 more years after this. It's not like he's done anything to improve the situation. They're screwed for 2 more years.
if I was an NFL owner, I think it would be hard for me to not try to put my fingerprints on stuff, but not in like the let's get in the coaching room kind of way. Like it's very, these people obviously had some form of success to get there. And sure, if it's mommy and daddy's money, it's a little bit different. But at the same time, like these guys have all run successful businesses in order to be able to afford an NFL team. That ego doesn't get checked at the door.
No, sure. I understand that, but also like
I'm taking the Bucks.
Just know your lane. Just know your
But
lane.
it's funny though, because we always talk about, head coach fired, maybe the team wrapped. No, not this week.
Nope, not in this scenario. This is a dumpster fire.
Yeah,
Corey?
I'm going with the Bucks as well.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to disagree there. We're getting ready to move on and talk about another great NFL owner, and that is the man that owns the Falcons. The Falcons are taking on the New York Football Jets.
Hey, Art Blank, he's all right.
Falcons are on the road taking on the Jets. Aaron, who do you have?
He looks like a old mob boss mixed with Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
God, that's perfect.
Like
Holy
the
shit!
Munsters grandpa.
Yeah, that's perfect.
And then there's Arthur Smith, who is the only billionaire head coach, which is hilarious because he runs his team like that too.
He is.
Falcons are kind of quietly playing okay.
First place in the NFC South.
Yeah, it's a bad division. The Jets, listen, I'm gonna keep rolling with the we catched the Boyle over 1.5 picks. That was a hell of a call. I put like 4 units on that. It was fantastic. Really, really enjoyed that. The Fail Mary. Real quick though. Thoughts on the Black Friday football game? Save the teams playing. Obviously, that was supposed to be Aaron.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
That's great.
Love it.
I'm a little nervous about the between every commercial on Black Friday, Amazon's like, "Hey, scan this QR code, you fat piece of shit." I was like 2 commercials in, and I was like, "I know what you're doing. I'm not moving
I
today."
thought they were going to be like, "Hey, scan this, and you get Amazon Prime free for 6 months." Like,
it was.
stupid
You
shit
know this
like that.
blender you don't need,
Yeah.
you fat pile of garbage.
Hey, why don't
You still
sign
working
up
that
for
turkey through your body?
Fucking Hershey's to get delivered to your house every 3 weeks.
Do love it in theory. I do love it
in New York.
Yeah. That factors nothing into this pick. I'm going with the Falcons.
Corey.
Yeah, I'm right there with Aaron. Jesse Bates with another pick 6.
Hey, what a game by him last week.
Yeah, Jesse Bates having a great season. Good for him. Great guy. Yeah, go with the Falcons. Jets suck.
Todd.
Aaron Rodgers in the practice window, boys.
Yeah.
It happened
Okay.
today.
What the fuck, dude?
It's so crazy. 79 days.
If he plays a snap, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Why? Why would he?
It's just so stupid.
Yeah.
What are they going to be 4-14 or 4-12 by the time he comes back?
The reason you do it is because he's going to be the quarterback next year, and you would rather the vibes be good going into the offseason than not. But I still don't think that the pros outweigh the cons of what could happen.
Yeah.
We'll see. I still don't think he's going to play even with this. He's cleared to practice.
Yeah, he practiced today.
Yeah.
So if he clears this 21-day window, he comes back on Thursday night against the Browns.
Yeah.
And then plays the Patriots. I don't know. It just seems stupid for him to come back. I just think it's fun.
Probably not the game I'd want to come back against.
No, that's what I'm saying. Just don't do it. Just don't come back. I do want to pose a question to you boys because I want to see what you think. Is Saleh on the hot seat for losing his job after this year?
No, lost his quarterback.
Even with toting Zach Wilson out there for probably 4 weeks too long.
But what was his other option? Boyle, who clearly is they somehow have the only quarterback in the world worse than Zach Wilson sitting behind Zach Wilson. It wasn't Saleh's fault that the front office didn't get a better backup behind Rodgers.
Sure. Okay, does the GM lose his job then?
I don't know. No, I feel like they chalk it up to voodoo and run it back next year.
Okay. I'm just curious because I mean that's a dumpster fire right now. And
honestly, it's the pseudo GM who is the reason Boyle was there in the first place. Is the reason Hartman was there. Lazard is there. He's the reason.
Lazard doesn't even dress for most games, right? He hasn't been active for like 3 weeks in a row. They paid him second wide receiver money.
Hey, not a bad gig.
Yeah, I'm taking the Falcons. I was just curious.
Yeah, I don't see any reason to fade you guys here. Desmond Ridder actually is, I guess, playing some decent football, kind of, maybe.
Kind of
in first place.
Touchdowns help.
Yeah. No, that defense down there is definitely carrying them. They got a nice pickup from Cincinnati with Jesse Bates, and he seems to be leading that defense in a good direction.
They paid him very handsomely to do so.
Yeah,
and he's delivering
very handsomely.
So,
yeah,
it's not often you see somebody get paid like that and deliver. So
usually they tear a ligament in their wrist.
Correct. Damn. So I'm sorry, Corey, that you're still going through that.
I'm dead inside.
Throw up Rob's comment there, because that is an interesting point in kind of what we're talking about.
So Rob's saying, I thought he said on the Pat McAfee show that he's only coming back if there's something to play for, aka playoffs. And I agree. I did see that as well.
So he's not coming back.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No reason to.
No.
Starting his offseason early.
But I mean, if he could at least, practice and still get the reps in and like feel like he's ready to play an NFL game, even though he won't start, I still think that's insane. So,
yeah.
His whole recovery process has been insane in general. All right. Let's move on here. We've got the Detroit Lions coming off a tough loss last week on Thanksgiving Day to the Packers, taking on the New Orleans Saints, coming off a loss to the Falcons last week. So, Aaron, I'll let you lead it off.
I'll take this one. I kind of feel bad for Lions fans. Like, it was finally a Thanksgiving that was supposed to be remembered. Hey, this is a good team coming into Thanksgiving, where, frankly, every year around Thanksgiving, the season is typically already spoken for. So I kind of felt bad for that. But, man, Jared Goff just decided to play some of his worst football at the worst time. The guy's been an absolute turnover machine between, 3 interceptions, 3 fumbles. It hasn't been good to watch. If I'm a Lions fan, I'm a little nervous, to be quite honest with you. Obviously, division games are always going to be tough. I was completely fine with throwing that Ravens game away. That's just a weird, game that, those are going to happen in the season, even for good teams. Those are the 2 teams in the division that were playing the worst football that they struggled against. Mm-hmm. Now, granted, we always talk about divisional games being, always tougher. Everyone knows each other a little bit better. I'm still going to stick with the Lions here. But this is an absolute, I don't want to say have to have it, because it's a team that's, could coast into the playoffs in theory, because I don't really think there's anyone else in the division that can contend to be there, unless the Packers can really, really get going here on a run. But the Saints have just been doing nothing impressive. Everything out of Derek Carr has just been, bland at best. He continues to be terrible in the red zone. That defense that played really well at the beginning of the year is not playing very well at all. I think this is, just like with every Lions game, is going to be a track meet. And do we know the status of Olave? I know he's
in concussion protocol.
Yeah, I doubt he's going to play.
Yeah, this is number 2 for him on the season too.
Right, and they're already out Thomas. Yeah, guys, I got to go with the Lions here, but I'm not. All the good vibes that I was feeling about Detroit for a while, I am not feeling them anymore. But they could make this be a get right week.
Todd.
Yeah, that's all valid points. I think that the lack of secondary help for Detroit has been exposed the last 2 weeks. Teams seem to figure out that if you can keep pressure off the quarterback, that you can score on Detroit. It's worked 2 weeks in a row. They just got really lucky that the Bears are so bad that they could come back and win. But yeah, the Saints just have no offensive help whatsoever. I think that's the big thing. I think Shaheed might not even play this week, so I'm not sure.
I think you're right.
I don't know
Taysom Hill, baby, fire him up.
I don't know who else Derek Carr could throw the ball to other than Kamara and him, and maybe that rookie running back from TCU. That's it. That's about your only option right now. So I'm taking the Lions based on that they're just a healthier team.
Corey.
Yeah, I'm taking the Lions here, but I've been saying it for about a month and a half now that the secondary is in trouble. They're not a Super Bowl winning defense right now.
Nope.
We've talked about some defenses in the league being the Mario mushroom for different offenses. I think this Saints offense has the ability to be that for this defense, to kind of find some cohesiveness, like they were able to find down the backstretch last season, but the games just didn't matter as much. So if they can kind of find that magic again, we can, kind of start talking again about the Lions being a serious contender. But until I see significant defensive play in games, because guess what, guys? Jared Goff is going to have another bad game this season. It's going to happen. Sure. But the defense needs to be able to carry them through those moments. He can't be perfect every single week. It's just insane to expect that. So that's what defines teams that are able to win championships, is that when one part of the game is lacking, the other is there to supplement that. And just not seeing that out of the Lions right now. But
Goff's the new Cousins.
I would love to see, there's that 47 points. I'm so tempted to take it because I could see this being like a 35-28 game or something like that. But yeah, we'll stay away from that one, I think. But give me the Lions here.
My hesitation would be the skill positions in New Orleans just being too banged up.
Yeah, because the Lions defense could be a get right game for the defense here, to where they hold New Orleans to 14. And, walk out with
those backup secondary guys are now going up against backup receivers.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, should be an interesting game. I got the Lions here, guys. I think it's a get right game for them. They're obviously coming off 2 tough losses in a row.
No,
and
one. Right?
What? No, because they did beat the Bears.
Came back and beat the Bears.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But it was a bad game.
No business doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. My apologies. But yeah, either way, obviously Thanksgiving Day is basically the Lions Super Bowl every year. And this year
draft, baby.
And this year they actually had a quality team going into it, and Jordan Love just decided to ball out. So
hey man, I said don't sleep on him just yet.
Lions defense is trash. I'm still sleeping.
All right, we'll get into the Packers here in a little bit. Next game in the 1:00 slate, we've got the Chargers taking things to the East Coast, headed to New England to take on the Patriots. Patriots coming off of a very close game. They lost 10-7 against Tommy DeVito in those New England Patriots. And the Chargers also taking a loss last week to the Ravens, 20-10. Corey, lead us off. Chargers on the road. Who you got?
Yeah, this is going to be a bloodbath. Patriots are so fucking bad. Chargers win.
Todd.
It's pretty cool to say that the Patriots are just fucking god awful. I like it. I say it as often as I can because I like saying it. I'm taking the Chargers. The Patriots are fucking awful.
Aaron.
Yeah, it's funny that we're just so heavy on the Chargers here because against any other team we're talking about, I don't know, the Chargers have been really, really bad. I don't trust them. Here's the other team I don't trust at all, and it's the New England Patriots, which is hilarious to say. Who's quarterbacking this game? Do we know? Is it
Bailey Zappi?
Is it going to be a bullpen session again?
Zappi's getting
a bullpen game.
I read that today.
He looked fucking terrible. And granted,
we'll see Will Greer. They just re-signed Will Greer again. We might see him at some point in time this year.
Let's go, baby.
I think I would love to see him get on.
Give me Richard Greer. I don't give a shit. It doesn't matter.
I don't know Richie Greer, but that sounds good.
Pretty woman.
Yeah, come on.
He meant Richard Gere.
Gear.
Yeah.
I knew where you were going with it, but it's the wrong last name.
All right. Well, my bad.
I thought maybe it was like your high school's kind of a varsity blues situation. I didn't know.
Up.
So, anyways, I'm going to take the. I mean,
get the fuck out of here! Don't you tell me to shut up ever. I will jump across it, dude. I'll jump across the screen and smack you in the mouth. You tell me to shut up ever again. I'm not afraid of that.
For the Patriots, Ramondre has actually looked pretty good lately,
shut up.
Which is interesting. I'm just going to keep going. Ramondre has actually looked pretty good. That is not going to make a difference in this game. If the Chargers put up 17, it's over, and they're gonna.
Oh shit! All right. I also have the Chargers. Patriots are ass cheeks. Let's
I
move on.
love that.
So we've got another barn burner for you guys.
There's some bad games.
Yeah, there's some bad games this week.
It's a
boys.
real
It's a good week to get drunk in Jacksonville.
So last game on the 1:00 slate this week, we've got the Miami Dolphins headed up north to take on the old Washington Commanders.
We still have one more 1:00, don't we?
Yeah, there's another 1:00 too. You got
Is there?
Texans and the Browns.
Yeah, the actually good one.
Sorry, I have it backwards. Okay. Yeah, my apologies. We got this one and one more.
Isn't that insane that we're saying that this is the good one? Like beginning of the year, we're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, beginning of the year, this would have been an absolute.
Seemed like it would have been a classic. Throw it on Thursday.
I'm just gonna say, we can go back to the tape. There's one person here that had Broncos and Browns as wild card teams.
Yeah.
You did.
Just saying.
All right, Miami headed to Washington. Aaron, who you
Also
got?
had the Bengals winning the division.
Yeah. Well, what are you gonna do? Yeah, I mean, listen, it's Miami. They're beatable, but Washington is just playing uninspired football. I still love everything I'm seeing out of Howell, at least for what I thought he was going to be as a pro.
Yeah.
They have a decent stable of receivers. Brian Robinson's been having a good year. But Miami, I just think this is for what we talk about Miami in the same way I was talking about with the Cowboys. This is just a classic one where it's like, I'm not going to learn anything about the Dolphins here when they win by, 9 points.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Corey, Todd.
Yeah, I'm riding with Aaron on this one. It's Dolphins. Really, really glad to have Tyreek Hill on my fantasy football team. It's
been fun.
My
been
best
awesome.
my best draft pick in the last few years for sure.
Yeah, took him 5th overall. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, he was my first pick as well.
I jumped up and took him 3rd instead of Chase, and
Good call.
yeah,
Worked out.
Worked out.
Absolutely. Todd, Dolphins.
Yeah, I'm taking the Dolphins, fellas, because they got to win these next 3 weeks. They got the Commanders, the Titans, the Jets, and then they round out the season with the Cowboys, Ravens, and Bills. So
Yeah, their strength of schedule at the end of the season is brutal.
so they got
to.
they have to walk in to week 16 at 11-3 because I think they probably finished the year at 11-6.
Nice.
Mm.
I think they take one of those three, at least one of the last three.
But they could drop one, so we'll see.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
It's football.
That is something that is yet to be seen, and I'm excited to watch it unfold. All right, now moving on to the last 1:00 game. Sorry, I overstepped my boundaries earlier. We've got the Denver Broncos, who have won 5 straight now, 6 straight,
5.
What is it now? 5. Taking on the Houston Texans, who beat. They've lost quite a few close games in the last couple of weeks. CJ Stroud still playing some pretty good football, all things considered. But anyways, Broncos on the road in Houston. Todd, who do you have?
This is saucy, boys. I like that this is a saucy game because we're looking at a team that's done a complete one. I mean, we're talking about a team that gave up 70 points at the beginning of the year on a 5-game winning streak. 3 of those 5 games they've won against teams with winning records. And we're talking about a team being led by a rookie quarterback that was kind of written off because there was no talent around him. It's the best story of the week, in my opinion.
Agreed.
I'm taking the Texans. I didn't know who I was going to pick until it just came out of my mouth. I didn't know.
Interesting.
It just happened. Normally, I would say I would ride the hot hand, but I'm gonna take a play out of Corey's book, and I'm gonna fade the streak here, boys. I'm gonna fade the streak of the Broncos. I'm gonna take the Texans at home, and they're cruising towards a wild card spot.
Corey.
NRG is gonna be rocking. Texans fans, city of Houston, been waiting for these Texans to be back. Just 10 years ago, they were winning the division on a regular basis.
Yep.
With Deshaun and JJ and Hop and that whole team. So, no, it's awesome what's happening here. This is going to be a hell of a football game. I'm excited to watch it, but I'm going with the Broncos here, guys. I don't know. I believe what's going on. I'm going to take the more experience and the quarterback position, and I'm going to take the better head coach, which I think at this point, there's two people that I think are up for coach of the year right now, in my opinion. And it is all dependent on whether or not they make the playoffs. One of them is in Denver. I'll get to the other one later. If the Broncos started 1-5 and make the playoffs, Sean Payton absolutely deserves to be at least a nominee for coach. You know how easy it is to lose. They had almost lost the entire locker room. You've got offensive linemen crying to the press in the locker room. I've been here for so long. I'm so tired of losing. As he wipes tears away with hundreds of dollars. It would be amazing. It would be absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson potentially could be up for comeback player of the year at this point. With the way he's been playing, he's been solid all year, even when they were 1-5. It wasn't because of Russ. It wasn't because of Russ. It's quite the turnaround we're seeing. So counter to what I normally do, I'm going to fade the hottest player in the pick 'em right now in Todd, which is crazy. But go ahead. He is.
You didn't deserve that drive by, Todd. I just want to let you know.
No, he is. He had the best week last week.
That's what I know. You said, which is surprising to say.
No, that I'm fading him.
He said it was surprising that I'm fading him.
Yeah, and then I'm fading the streak, and I don't do that.
He's not only fading the streak, but he's also fading
the best player,
fading the hottest person in Pick'em right now. So he's fading
not just record-wise, but also sexual appeal.
Thank you. I was hoping that was coming soon. I was going to
keep it up. I'm going to be coming soon. You know what I'm saying?
I know we're all a big fan of Ham here on this show, and he's got a couple of ham hocks attached to his torso up there on his shoulders. So, Aaron,
double dicks.
Yeah. So for a game like this, I had the benefit of watching that. Well, I did turn it off at a certain point because I was like, I can't watch PJ Walker anymore. But watching the Broncos game, there was something that stood out to me that Corey, I agree with you from like a comeback player of the year perspective. I think Russ is right up there. He hasn't been great. He hasn't been great, but he's still one of the things to me that really stood out in this game was at the line of scrimmage against, statistically the best defense in the league. He walked up there with 2 plays every single time, and he checked to the right one more often than not. I hadn't seen the Browns defense struggle like that all year. And it wasn't like it was necessarily turning into, a 300-yard. I'm pretty sure he threw for like 146 yards, but it was a different level of quarterback like cerebralness that I really hadn't seen a lot out of quarterbacks this year. And I think a lot of that just has to do with how down quarterback play has been this year. This game is in Houston, correct?
It's in Houston, correct.
I like Houston a lot this year. I don't like when they're favored. They've been playing a lot of really, really close games. The Broncos are the hottest team in the league. That defense is playing on another planet. Everyone's going to talk about, they gave up 70 points. I'm throwing that out completely. That was years ago in my book. Like this is
NFL
not
years. Yeah.
NFL years. This is a completely different defense. I honestly walked into this one thinking, I might get a lone wolf out of this. I'm going to take the Broncos. I did
too, actually.
Yeah. I actually really think, the Texans are the obvious sexy pick. Stroud is going to come in. And here's the thing, even against good defenses, he's still thrown 300 yards.
Yeah.
But we have seen, he has made a couple mistakes in games, even in the Bengals game, he threw 3 picks?
Yeah.
I just couple the way the Broncos defense is playing right now, how hot that team is, and what I saw out of Russell Wilson last week. And Corey, I think you took my main point too, was it's the coaching. I think everyone was ready to me included. Sean Payton, get back to the booth, bud. Enjoy cashing the checks. You could have just rode out into retirement. That team is playing very, very aggressively on defense, and they're flying around. And I was frankly not expecting that walking into that game. I'm gonna take the Broncos here.
Yeah, so I'm going to kind of sound like a broken record here. I also thought I was going to be a lone wolf on this one because this is a complete gut pick for me. And something's telling me this week that the Broncos are just going to take this.
Have you ever seen a wolf?
Have you ever
isn't there like a 3-headed wolf in Harry Potter or something?
Dude,
it's a dog, and it's
Cerberus.
His name is Fluffy. Okay.
Have you seen the wolves?
Cerberus
That's exactly what they look like. That's exactly what they look and sound like. It's geographically very specific. They walk around just like that. I don't ask me how it happens. I didn't make it up.
Take your word for it. Take your word for it.
But
no, I'm taking the Broncos this week. Corey mentioned it, and Aaron as well. I think Russell Wilson is just playing a different. We haven't seen him play this level of football.
No, he's playing age appropriate. You ever see like Keanu Reeves, for example, and you're like, Keanu Reeves is dating, and you're like, oh, that is shockingly age appropriate. Good for you, Keanu. That's what Russell Wilson is doing right now. He's playing age appropriate football.
Yeah, and he's doing a very good job.
Good for you, not going 20 years. Yeah, good for you. She's hot. She's just a little older.
That's an insane parallel. That's an absolute insane.
But you know what I mean. I love seeing age appropriate couples.
That being said, I honestly hope that the Texans win this week because how can you not root for C.J. Stroud and that young team that Houston has?
He's already the greatest Ohio State NFL quarterback of all time.
Yeah, he's already solidified that for sure. Watching this game, I've taken the Texans the last couple weeks and it has not worked out for them. So I'm kind of fading it. I really like what the Texans have. I think they got a great young squad to build around, and we'll see how it goes. But taking the Broncos. Do want to bring up a comment from Tez. It's a good segue into 4:00 games here. Browns Rams, but Tez's comment says, could McVay be a candidate for coach of the year? If they made the playoffs with the youngest team in the NFL, I will lead this one off. Absolutely not. I don't even think he's in the conversation.
I don't either. They're not right now.
They're a couple years removed from a Super Bowl. It's not like they've really made a ton of changes. Yes, they're young, but they still have Matt Stafford and Aaron Donald and all these guys.
I think that's a big if as well.
They're also below 500 right now.
Yep.
So that's why I mean it's a big if they make the playoff. Like I know we talked about the AFC being so competitive and heavy and stuff. Like look at the NFC right now. Look at that playoff race. Like there are a lot of legitimate teams in the NFC right now that are playing good football that are gonna make some noise coming down the backstretch, boys. Like that's just Cowboys, Eagles, Niners.
That's the end of the list, though.
Lions
of contenders for me. I don't view.
I know, but they like look at their record. You are what your record says you are. Like that's not happening anywhere else. Like I think the NFC is beating the AFC in head-to-head matchups as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Like head-to-head.
Yeah. So it's just
interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. But is Mahomes going to rear his head and be Mahomes? Are the Bills going to figure out who the fuck they are? Like,
yeah, this also has been a really weird year for like injury though as well.
Yeah,
like it's hard. I don't know. I mean, obviously injury is always going to be a factor every year. It's like we do all this talking at the beginning of the year, projecting everything out. And really what it comes down to, it's just kind of like fantasy football where it's like
who stays healthy,
who's healthy in January.
Yep.
They're going to win.
100%.
Yeah. Tez coming up with a follow-up comment. It's a big if they make it. That's why I think if they did make it and actually won a game or two, I think you have to consider it. I don't know. I just that wasn't a thought in my brain.
I got one more candidate that I think is a stretch, but if it happens, I'll tell you about them.
We'll get to it shortly, but we've got the Cleveland Browns taking things out to LA to take on the Rams. Aaron, let's lead it off. Who you got?
Yeah, it's been a rough couple of weeks for the Brownies here, guys. I mean, this did seem like a like on the doorstep of a really good season. I mean, and here's the thing is they're still right in it, and their record would show that, they can still make the playoffs. I don't know who's playing quarterback in this game. I know it's not going to be PJ Walker though, which, PJ Walker beat the Niners, which is still crazy to me. Myles Garrett's a little bit banged up. I think I underestimated last week how big Denzel Ward being out was going to be. I know Greg Newsome is a great corner, but he's probably the best slot corner in the league. And then having to move him outside, really proved to be a little bit difficult against, some of those Denver receivers. The problem with the Browns right now is, and if it's going to be Joe Flacco, I can't put my bet on that because I don't really know what that's going to look like. Oddly, the ball could move better, but I don't know. The thing that sucks is I actually thought DTR was starting to put it together a little bit in that game. They have dropped everything for that poor guy too. Like Njoku, I think had 2 drops in the game. Amari Cooper dropped. Yeah, right. Amari Cooper dropped a easy 2-point conversion to tie that game, and then from there, the tide had been taken. Myles is going to play. Like I have no doubt about that. I know he's going for the Defensive Player of the Year. Even 80% of Myles Garrett is going to be better than most pass rushers in this league. My worry here with the Browns is they're not a team that can keep up on offense, and you're relying completely on the defense to keep the lid on the game. This certainly will be a hedge my happiness pick. I will be taking the Rams. Certainly, I think the Browns can win. But right now, from an injury standpoint, they are on the wrong side of healthy, guys. And it's unfortunate. And like I said, I actually thought DTR was starting to put it together. In that game, he had 3 great drives going. It was an unfortunate hit that he took. He's in concussion protocol. That typically means he's going to be out for the week after. I believe Kenny Pickett's the only guy who was in concussion protocol to play that same week. Purdy did it too. Purdy did it as well. Okay, thank you, Todd.
Against the Bengals.
There's I can sit here and tell you all the reasons why the Browns are going to win this game. But if they go down 2 scores, it's hard for me to believe that this offense right now, that the way that they're playing, is going to be able to come back and win, save for the defense putting a touchdown on the board. So I'm going to take the Rams here. They're at home. Browns fans travel great. Like I actually do think you're going to see a ton of Browns fans in the crowd. I don't think it's going to be a home field advantage by any means. It never is at SoFi. But until I can see this Browns anemic offense put up enough points to save for what the defense has been able to do all year, it's hard for me to take them in a game that's not a divisional matchup.
Fair enough. Todd.
Boy, what a week Kyron Williams had coming off of IR, fellas.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, great point.
Yeah. I think that's something I'm intrigued by for the Rams down the stretch, is being able to run the ball and utilize a running back consistently. I think that's something that they've been kind of in limbo with this year or last year and this year too. I'm not ready to say that they're a playoff contender or anything by any means, but it definitely having him in the backfield, he took advantage of a bad defense in Arizona and was Offensive Player of the Week for a reason. I'm taking the Rams here just solely based on if it's Joe Flacco, guys, I can't pick that guy to win a game. I can't. When's the last game that he started? Did he start last year for the Jets?
Flacco? Yeah, he honestly, he was much better. The irony is the Jets should have picked him up a while ago. He was much better than Zach Wilson, and like it's funny because like I was saying, Boyle is the only quarterback in the world who's worse than Wilson. But
one touchdown, 13 picks in college.
You're also completely changing your offense in Cleveland around. When you're playing PJ Walker, you're playing DTR. You can still run the same Deshaun offense that you've installed all year. You can't run the read option with Joe Flacco.
Sure.
I mean, you can.
But what do we want to be on our 5th quarterback?
Yeah.
5th Feels like a Brian Hoyer situation to me. That's just kind of where I stand with it.
Absolutely. Corey, who you got?
Yeah, so I'm taking the Rams. But
Fuck.
if the Browns make the playoffs, Kevin Stefanski deserves Coach of the Year. That's what my other Coach of the Year candidate is. The Browns are still in contention. And
Sure.
like if Joe Flacco comes off the bench and manages the game, they can win this game.
I agree.
As long as Joe Flacco puts the ball to the receivers, doesn't put it in the hands of Los Angeles, doesn't make stupid plays. They lean on Kareem and I think Jerome Ford, right? Is the other running back?
Jerome Ford's been good, man. He was.
If they lean on the running game and the defense stands tall and Joe Flacco makes like game manager choices, like they can Trent Dilfer their way to the playoffs, right? And I think if that happens at this point, being on their fourth quarterback to start a game, let's just assume Joe Flacco starts. I think that's where we're trending. He's taking first team snaps.
I will tell you though, they did say if DTR clears protocol, he is the starter.
Yeah, and that makes sense. But good to have Flacco ready just in case he takes a hard hit. I'm just saying if the if the Browns make the playoffs, then Kevin Stefanski absolutely deserves to be in the conversation for Coach of the Year.
I agree
That's a fair point.
I agree a 1,000,000% with that. It's the amount of adversity from an injury standpoint that this team has had to withstand this year has just been ridiculous. To get wins like they have against really good teams, the 49ers, the Ravens, the Steelers, the Bengals I know Burrow was hobbled at the beginning of the year, but I certainly, I don't think any of us took them in that game. But again, that's the first game of the year. It's kind of hard to judge those. The one thing for Stefanski as well is through all of this that they've had to go through, and it's a winning team, so it shouldn't really be a problem. But you can tell, like, all reports are from anybody who's been covering this team for a long time, since '99, is like, this is the closest the locker room's ever been. Like, they're still bought in. I think Stefanski is such a great week-to-week coach. He just makes some head-scratching decisions in game, but I also think it's like, well, what the fuck are we gonna do now? Like, when you go down, DTR in that game, and you got to throw PJ Walker back out there. So Corey, I agree with you. Funny enough, the other person who I think should be in there is Tomlin, just because their record.
It's like saying Kevin O'Connell deserved it last year, though, and I can't sign on for that.
Yeah, but it's the amount of wins that they have in close games, which comes to coaching to me. Yeah, like, I was all on board with
Vikings had 12 wins last year. And they were one-score games, and we weren't having that conversation.
Yeah, I guess it's like, what do you say? Like, what does MVP mean to you? And I know that we're talking about coach of the year, but what does MVP mean to you? Is it the best player on the best team, or is it remove this guy from the situation, and what is the situation? And I guess my argument for Tomlin is if you put any other coach on that Steelers roster, and they probably have 2 wins right now.
I don't know if I can sign on for that. I don't know that, like. Yeah, Tomlin is a good coach. Absolutely, good coach. It's hard for me to say that they haven't been on the good side of fortune in terms of matchups in at least the last
it's fair
couple of weeks.
And we still need the season to play out, but I agree 100% with you. If the Browns are able to get into the playoffs, which
like that offense went 400 yards. How many points did they put up on the board?
Yeah, that's fair.
You know what I mean? Like. There's still issues there. So, like, you're not going to win most games doing that. So, and you're not going to get. Yeah, and they get the fucking Cardinals again. So, no, they'll go to the playoffs, and they'll probably go on the road to, let's see, who's going to be the lowest division winner in the AFC this year?
Probably,
I mean, it would be
Baltimore.
If the season ended today, they'd be playing Miami.
Miami.
All right. Well,
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%.
Right?
Corey, I don't mean to take away. I agree with your point 1,000,000%. Stefanski should be in that conversation. Should they make the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, the season end of the day, Steelers obviously roll over Miami, guys. I mean, come on.
Miami gets their first playoff win since Dan Marino.
I think Chad Pennington got one, didn't he?
I have no fucking clue.
Oh, there's a name drop.
I think he got one.
I have no idea.
All right. Last 4 o'clock game, then we're going to head into the prime time games. Although I don't know why this game is not the prime time game. It doesn't make any sense to me. We've got the San Francisco 49ers headed to Philadelphia.
It's America's game of the week.
I mean, I know why.
1,000% the game of the week. The 49ers taking on the Eagles.
We're in flex season now, and the networks get to protect a game. Like, I'm not letting this game off Fox if I'm Fox.
Yeah.
Also, real quick, I want to go back talking about the Browns, though. Mark Sanchez is the worst fucking commentator on the planet.
Him and
we get him again
suck.
this week.
Mark Schleyer sucks so bad.
Awful.
Too. Yeah.
God, I hate Mark Sanchez. I'm gonna sync up the radio. I'm serious, dude. It was awful.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, you got Mr. Butt Fumble calling games now, so it's a beautiful thing. All right, so you got the 49ers,
fat Adam Driver,
headed to Philadelphia. The Eagles are home dogs. They are not favored in this game against San Francisco, which is wild with them having the best record in football. That being said, Corey, lead us off. 49ers, Eagles.
Yeah, this is going to be a hell of a football game. You could probably convince me either way, but I'm going to sit here and tell you why the team that is going to win the Super Bowl this year is going to win this week as well.
Ooh.
They are the most complete team in football. You still don't know who I'm talking about. They have a very, very, very good defense that is deep as hell. You still don't know who I'm talking about. They have weapons all over the field. You still don't know who I'm talking about.
Could be either way.
It's going to be the Philadelphia Eagles, boys. This team won a slop fest against Buffalo. Slop fest. It was a gross football game, one that was riddled with controversy, obviously, but nonetheless, a win. And they got out of there on top. And when I'm comparing these two teams, I'm looking at everything that the Eagles have to offer from the offensive side of the ball. And it's not about stopping them, because you're not going to do that. It's about slowing them down as much as you possibly can. And the way the Eagles win this game is by quick scoring, putting the 49ers in a position to where they aren't in control. And at that position, you put Brock Purdy in a way to where he has to win the game.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult for the 49ers to do that. Their method is exactly that. They want to get out on top. They want to hand it to Christian McCaffrey, run Debo around the side, do these little, these different quick power options that they run, and make Brock Purdy in a position to where he's making easy decisions for most of the game. Put him in a spot to where he's going up against, a 13-point deficit, a 10-point deficit. It doesn't look as pretty. This Eagles defensive line is fucking nuts. And I think they give them a lot of fits, and I think they win. And right now, I think it's hard. I'd be hard pressed for anyone to make a clear argument as to why the Eagles aren't clearly the Super Bowl favorite right now.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll take it. I don't disagree with that sentiment at all. I still think that they're the Super Bowl favorite. I also think that the Eagles have been itching to lose a game for the last couple of weeks.
Fading the streak.
It's not necessarily fading the streak, because you also have the 49ers who, after a 3-game, won 5 in a row, 3-game lose streak, and then they haven't lost a game since. And 2-3 weeks ago, I brought up the stat of, Shanahan after the bye. 49ers is a completely different team. I think this game means more to the Niners than it does. Like, if the Eagles drop a game here, I still think that that doesn't change the trajectory at all. I think there's also the repeat or revenge fact of the last time that we saw these two teams. I thought the Niners looked better against the Eagles in the playoffs, and then Purdy goes down. And, that's why we have the rule change now of having a third quarterback inactive, allowed to be dressed to be able to play in a game, should there be an injury to the backup quarterback. I think the 49ers still haven't forgotten about that one. You take a look at the last couple games. Let's take a look at the last 4 here for the Eagles. 38-31 to the Commanders. That's a 1-score game. 28-23 to the Cowboys. 21-17 to the Chiefs. 37-34 to the Bills. Those are all, save maybe the Commanders. Those are all really good teams that they've played. And now they come up against another really, really good team. And, the luck at a certain point kind of has to turn around a little bit. And take a look at the 49ers last couple games. Forgive me, I did just have it pulled up here. They're winning in blowout fashion. Not the best of teams. Jaguars 34-3. Jaguars are a good team. 27-14 to the Bucks. 31-13 to the Seahawks. I think the 49ers right now are playing more of a smash mouth style of football. And Jalen Hurts still looks great. And right now is the odds on favorite to win MVP, and rightfully so. But the Eagles can pretty much cruise control it here to the playoffs if they want to. And this kind of reminds me of like a team in college basketball, right? Where it's like, I don't necessarily want to go undefeated to get into the playoffs. And I know that they've already lost a game, but just let's take this analogy here. And I think a loss here in the long run is probably a good thing for the Eagles. And I think for the 49ers, a win here is so much more important to that locker room, where I think if the Eagles lose this game, it's all right, let's wipe that one away. And I think of the teams that the Eagles have played in the last 4 weeks, the 49ers are actually going to be the best team that they've gone against. This is almost just a fatigue pick for me and why I'm going to fade the Eagles. Corey, I agree with you, though. I still think the Eagles are the Super Bowl pick.
And I think you make a lot of great points there, and I'll go back to it. I think of the opponents that the 49ers played, all of those teams, their caliber allows the 49ers to play the style of football that the 49ers are best at. Like the Browns, for instance, I really think a huge obvious reason to why, the weather was awful in that game against the 49ers, but the defense allowed the Browns to be in a position to where the 49ers were not able to put it on cruise control. Because when they get into that cruise control offensive mode, it's hard for them to stop because they're so good at executing. And that's really what it boils down to on offense is execution. Every play is drawn up to be a touchdown. Every single play, if you execute it to perfection, can be a touchdown. There aren't plays that are just drawn up for 4 yards. Yes, the probability of you only getting 4 yards is high, but that's not what they're drawn up to do. If you execute them perfectly,
tush push,
they're touchdowns. They're touchdowns. If you, that's obviously the.
You say, they start every series 1st and 9.
1st and 9. Yeah. So that's I totally agree with everything that you said, and like you said, you could probably convince multiple people different ways on this game. This is going to be such a fun,
great game,
and interesting game. Like every single Tez, not true. What do you mean not true? Every single play is drawn up to be a touchdown. That's 100% true. That's what if you execute them perfectly, there's a hat on a head in every single one, and you have one responsibility to make one guy miss. That's X's and O's. That's just what that boils down to. That's it. Offensive plays.
Todd.
Yeah, I'm sticking with the Eagles here, boys. I think Corey made the most valid point of between kind of what him and Aaron went through is that Philadelphia is not going to allow San Francisco to get into the driver's seat. That's the main thing. I think it's tried and true. Anytime Brock Purdy's gotten down by a couple of scores and they've had to come back, he's been a turnover machine. That's really what's happened, guys. He's had multiple turnovers anytime he's had more than a 10-point deficit. And Philadelphia is very good at getting quarterbacks to turn the ball over. That's just what it is. I don't really have much more value to add, but I'm taking the Eagles here. And I mean, they have a tough schedule to kind of round out the year, and this is the first step to get in there.
Sure. A couple comments rolling in. I'll address Tez, and then we'll get to Will's here in just a second. Tez, I actually agree with Corey here because I've watched football for a pretty big portion of my life, and
Played
I think
football for a good portion of your life too, Bob.
Yeah, and I think I've seen and also scored touchdowns on pretty much any type of play that has been run, draw plays, screen plays, shots over the middle, deep shots, the check downs, like anything that's drawn up properly. If the blocking is executed and you make the one guy miss, it's a touchdown. So I mean, every play is ran with the intention of scoring.
Yeah, that's why you draw. That's why play. It's the same thing in basketball. You don't run a play in basketball to turn the ball over.
The reason why it's not they're not every play isn't a touchdown is because there's another team over there that's drawing up something that is going to counteract what your efforts are. And sometimes there are going to be individual matchups that aren't.
I like
won.
this argument though.
I
think
guys, I gotta be honest with you. I don't think the tush push.
That's the exception.
On 4th and 1.
The exception. Name another one.
Well, you can't say every play.
Okay, the QB sneak. Okay,
I agree with you. So here's the thing. I agree with Tez here. I honestly get both of your points, and I think it's just
throw out QB
difference
of push.
Okay, but if you throw it out, you can't say every play.
Okay, my God, Jesus Christ, what are we doing here?
That's what I'm saying. I get what you're both saying.
Let's pretend they don't exist. Now, what do you say?
I think every play is drawn up with the intention to score the ball. There is the opportunity for it to happen, but also on a 3rd and 1.
So that's what I was getting to. You're running specific plays due to the probability of success of that play and what is the likely result.
We see it all the time.
The likely result on a fullback dive is not a touchdown. That is not the likely.
No,
result.
I agree. But what I'm saying, and to your point, and we see it a lot. It's like 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2, and the quarterback airs it out to the streaker because they left that one alone, and it doesn't work all the time. But that play still had somebody whose sole job was to run far, fast, and long.
Sure, that one. But my point is that.
So I agree with that point. But
a power run to the right is drawn up to be executed as a touchdown. Even a hitch route, Tez coming into the comments saying, "FYI, a hitch route in that passing tree that is ran at a different depth against different coverages. A 5-yard hitch can also be a QB's primary target. It is not meant to be a touchdown play." I disagree. It is a touchdown
play. If the guy can make a move.
If you make him miss. If you can make that guy miss, who else is there? No one. Everyone else is accounted for.
So I'm in the middle here where I get what you're both trying to say. And Corey, what you're saying is there's obviously somebody on the other side of the football who, because then you can also say on defense, every defensive play is drawn up to get a sack or a loss of yards.
Yes.
Right. And that's what makes it a chess game and which makes it the most exciting sport.
The
in the
reason
world
it doesn't
watch.
happen is because there are elite levels of talent on both sides
right.
of the ball.
Right.
Like,
I get what you're both trying to say, but that's what I'm saying. So on 4th and 1 on your own 26, the tush push is not designed to get a touchdown.
Yes. Yeah. Like there's a few exceptions to the rule, but for the most part,
you can't be hyperbolic and say every play and that's all I'm saying. So yes.
Okay. We're on a podcast. I absolutely can be hyperbolic.
So I'm actually on the fence on this game. There's a big part of me that wants to side with Aaron here, and there's also a big part of me that wants to side with the rest of chat.
Am I the only one on the Niners?
No, Tez, you and Tez both have the Niners. Everybody else has the Eagles. I am the only one that has not picked yet. This is one of those games where like I understand why the Eagles are home dogs. Because, obviously, I think Vegas is fading the streak at this point. They played a lot of close games. I do want to double back to Will's comment here, and it kind of leads into what I'm getting at here. Are the Eagles just playing to their competition, and do close games mean they just don't have the killer instinct yet?
No, they're Super Bowl bound.
So. I think that I think that teams are playing up to their competition when they're coming to play the Eagles because they know that this is the top team in the NFL. This is the team that we have to bring our absolute A stuff for if we even want to have a chance to play and compete in this game. It's kind of one of those things where if you are the best, people are always going to be coming after you. I think that's why you see so many close games with the Eagles.
I think with the Eagles, they are the comparison of the second stint LeBron Cavs years where, they could easily be the 1 seed. They could be the 4 seed, But as long as they're invited to the party, I think they're going to get most of the way there. And I think that's what it is. Is it's this was a team that people thought Kelsey might have retired, even after losing the Super Bowl last year. I think they're just trying to reserve what they have in the tank for the ultimate goal this year. And I think they're so good that even when they aren't playing their best football, they still end up racking up dubs. And that's really what it comes down to. Is that playing down to your opponent? Maybe. But I also think this is a team that, let's look at around the entire rest of the league. What did we say? The goal is let's be healthy in January. And I think that's the most important thing for the Eagles, because that roster can stack up against any single NFL roster.
Sure. All that being said, I'm taking the Eagles here. I'm actually going against my gut. My gut tells me to take the 49ers here, but I'm taking the Eagles. I don't like the best team in the NFL being a home dog. So I think that's going to, fire up the Eagles. I think they got something to play for, defend their home turf. Being the, not favored team at home, being, where they are, the best record in the NFL, that's disrespectful in my opinion. And I think the Eagles show why they're the best team in the NFL this week. So
there are a lot of times where you're rocking lone wolf against the panel and you're like, I still don't feel great about this. This one's a gut.
Yep.
I'm shocked because this one, you guys will not show up here next Wednesday and go, I'm not surprised that the Niners won.
Yeah.
For sure. This game's a coin flip. It could go either way. A couple comments rolling in here. And this is one thing I can't speak for. I know Tez played football and could have played at a very high level, barring injuries. Coached it as well. Also had a fullback who ran fullback dives with down blocking schemes. It was definitely not meant for him to score a touchdown from the 20-yard line. So, yeah, I mean, I think this is a fun conversation that we could have, in the off season, as we kind of, need some.
I'd love to see the X's and O's on that play.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's kind of a
show you how you could draw it up better.
For a different time conversation, but definitely an interesting conversation to have that I would love to dive into.
Tez, I want you to know I hear you completely, and I get it.
I hear you as well, Tez. I hear you as well, but
I can't hear you because that would require insane supersonic ears. But I can read your words and I can get the sentiment from them.
I'm on Tez.
Right.
I'm on Tez's side.
All right, you fucking smart ass.
Yeah. Aaron's perpetual goal is to riff me.
No,
in life, you have come out very openly in saying that your main purpose in life, outside of
that's not my main purpose.
Outside of being a good husband, is to make sure my ego is constantly in check. It is a never-ending quest.
There's a reason that you and I have stayed as close as we have throughout the years, is because you also feel
kept me alive.
Yes, I have kept you alive in certain situations.
It's Will's destiny.
It's a bond that will never be broken.
Cheers, buddy. It's all love.
All right, Sunday night. We've got a matchup here. Packers coming off a great win on Thanksgiving. Jordan Love playing some pretty solid football at home against the Kansas City Chiefs, who have been, for what most can say, is inconsistent over the last few weeks. It's been some tough sledding for the good old Pat Mahomes led Chiefs. That being said, the Chiefs defense is playing some damn good football right now.
Yeah.
We got the Chiefs headed on the road to Lambeau. Todd, who you got?
I'm taking the Chiefs, boys. I think that there's not really too much debate here. The Packers caught a win on a team on a downslide right now. I don't think the Chiefs are necessarily on any sort of downslide. I think that they're playing good enough football to be 8-3. So I don't think the Packers are playing good enough football to crack 500. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, it's the other side of what I was just saying with the Eagles when I was comparing them to the second stint LeBron Cavs. It's this team knows that they're going to be in it. As long as they are in the playoffs, they are in the Super Bowl race. When you have somebody like Pat Mahomes, the Eagles are getting the wins out of close games. and the Chiefs have dropped a couple, but that hasn't made me think, oh, well, then, the Chiefs can't win the Super Bowl. The offense is at times, most times, actually been carried by this defense. Which is the first time that we've been able to say that in the Pat Mahomes era. Yeah. So that's been really cool to see. This will be a big test for Jordan Love because we saw him go against the Chargers and we saw him go against the Lions. And Corey, that's what we said. It's the Mario mushroom, right? So he's not getting that. He's not getting that in this one. I don't necessarily think that I need to see the Packers win this game, but I will be paying close attention to how Jordan Love plays in this game because due to a lot of injury this year at the quarterback position, Jordan Love has gone from starting okay to everyone being out on him to now being like, actually let's actually see what Jordan Love can do. And this will be a great test for him in this one. If Jones is still going to be out, they're certainly going to rely on the pass, but the Chiefs defense, I think, is going to keep them at bay enough. And of course, if you can just make this a 3-point game going into the fourth quarter with Pat Mahomes, I'm going to take the Chiefs. But even in a loss, I will be paying close attention to how Jordan Love plays now against a good defense after 2 good showing against 2 bad defenses.
Yeah.
Corey.
Yeah, I think the Jordan Love story here comes to an end against the Chiefs, whose offense has been a bit of folklore, if you will, over the last couple of weeks. And yes, those are Taylor Swift references. Chief win big. Jordan Love falls back to earth. It's not even close. This is this is going to be a bloodbath.
You don't think it'll be close?
I don't. No, I don't think the Packers are good. I don't think the Packers are good. I don't think Jordan Love is good. And if you don't have Aaron Jones and you continuously misuse AJ Dillon, yeah, I honestly, guys, like one more year of this and Matt LaFleur is gone. Why would you keep him around? You would get a new coach in there and set something else up because there's just been to give him credit, he hasn't had much to work with from the weapons department outside of an MVP quarterback. I'm not seeing anything out of the Packers that is getting me excited about their future.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, I don't know how we can say Jordan Love's bad when he's got 19 touchdowns, 10 picks.
10 picks isn't good.
No, it's like this is
not great. That's not a
2-to-1
ratio.
ratio is not terrible.
I don't think that's good.
2-to-1 ratio.
2-to-1?
Yeah.
I want 3-to-1. That's what we're looking at. 30 and 10.
But now your bar for for Jordan Love then is he has to be a top 3 quarterback, and I just don't think
my bar for quarterbacks is good enough to win a Super Bowl. That's what my bar is. If I want to decide whether or not I want a quarter
bar.
No, it's not. That's the only bar. You're in the NFL. What are we doing?
Not when it's your first year as a true starter.
No. Guys, do you ever think Jordan Love will win a Super Bowl?
No. I don't know yet. I have not seen enough.
You don't know, Aaron? You don't know?
No, I don't. I really don't. I think he was unjustly cast off at the beginning of this year, and I think he has shown me enough in the last couple of weeks. Even in that Steelers game, Bobby, he
he
shredded us.
Tez came in with a comment. 3-to-1 is great. Yes, it is. It is great.
3-to-1 is elite.
That's what it takes to win a Super Bowl. Is what my point that I'm making. 2-to-1, you can play in the NFL. You're not winning a Super Bowl, and I don't want you to be my quarterback. Because that's what I want. That's the goal is to win Super Bowls. I think
you're talking about 4 people in the country at one given time.
There are 4 people that can win a Super Bowl at any given year. That's it. Like the
Todd,
rest
get
of
in
the
here.
people.
Are we being crazy?
Why are we
crazy
talking about Jordan Love winning a Super Bowl right now?
Because that's the end goal, and we're talking about Jordan Love. Like Aaron had made a comment as to like I'm not ready to say Jordan Love is not the guy, and I'm saying. He is a guy, but he is not the guy.
This year? Yeah, of course not.
I don't think he's that ever.
So you're saying that quarterbacks can't get better over time? I can't see different stairs to get there.
4th year in the league.
Yeah, but this is his first true year starting.
Yep. I'm seeing nothing.
You've seen nothing out of him.
Nothing that's like I'm like, damn, dude.
Joe Burrow in his first year was 13 touchdowns and 5 picks.
He fucking shattered his leg.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's almost 3-to-1, by the way. That's almost 3-to-1, by the way. That's almost 3-to-1. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It takes that. That's what it takes. And if you're not that, that's okay. You're not a bad guy. I don't think Jordan Love deserves to be shot in the head, but he's not a Super Bowl quarterback right now. I'm not seeing that at all.
Oh man,
what was Stafford the year they won the Super Bowl? I was to say, what was Stafford the year they won the Super Bowl?
He also had literally the most expensive roster that has ever accumulated a Super Bowl.
Okay, so it's possible. So it's
yes, it is. It is
okay.
Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl.
Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl. Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl. Like, we can go ahead and talk about this, but let's talk real shit
Rex
here,
Grossman
boys.
won a Super Bowl.
No, he didn't. He won an NFC Championship game. He lost
right.
to Peyton Manning. Let's talk real things here that are like statistical likelihoods. Let's not talk about the outliers and call them laws. Like, come on. What are we doing?
I love you, Corey.
I love you guys so much.
All right. So I think we all have the Chiefs on the Sunday night game. I don't see anybody else taking the Packers here.
I want Todd to get in on this argument because I know he's got shit to say.
I do, but I don't want to go down. We're an hour and 45 minutes into it. If I share my piece on it, we're 2.5 hours into.
We got one game left.
I'm not here to do it. Corey, I do not agree with you whatsoever at all. You can't. That's okay. You can't put somebody in a 13-game bubble and say that they're not a Super Bowl talent. You cannot. That's crazy.
All right. Let's see what he does this weekend. I want to show me against a good. Convince me otherwise, Jordan Love. Play really good against a good defense.
Even if he plays bad this week, I'm still not throwing him out.
Hold on. Corey, let me ask you this, because this is where I think you're getting down. You're speaking in extremes, right? That's where I think that you're getting at.
Welcome.
Your point is valid. You're saying that in order to win a Super Bowl, it takes a quarterback that can score 3 times more than turn the ball over, right? That's essentially what you're saying.
I'm saying that's what elite quarterbacks do.
Do we count rushing touchdowns?
No. You're saying we said a Super Bowl win, right? We're not talking about the status of the quarterback. We're talking about a Super Bowl win.
Well,
hold on. Your conversation is that a quarterback has, in order to win a Super Bowl, a quarterback has to be in this elite category of 3 touchdowns to an interception. And then you're saying that there's outliers that coexist within that, right? Are we arguing about, is Jordan Love a Super Bowl caliber quarterback, or are we arguing that he's an elite quarterback? These are 2 entirely different conversations.
I think both are true in the sense that he is not either of those. So but I get what you're saying in that a square is not a square.
Yeah, you're trying to put a
triangle, but a rectangle is not a square. So, I can accept that. I can accept that. But when I'm from GM hat on, what I am looking for in building a Super Bowl winning team is that I need a top 5 quarterback to do it. I think we've all said this too. Like I think there's only 3 of those in the NFL right now. Well, there's 5 statistically speaking by top 5. Is my point is like you need
who are 5 quarterbacks right now that are elite in the NFL?
Patrick Mahomes. We're there, right? We're good on that. Joe Burrow. We're good on that. Jalen Hurts. We're good on Jalen?
Yeah.
Everybody?
Okay, but what did Jalen Hurts do his rookie year? Or his first year playing?
A little different.
Well, sure, of course it is, because it's your argument.
But those are different things. Like
you're like, you said first year. Josh Allen's first year in the league was 10 touchdowns and 12 picks.
Very bad, yep.
Okay.
And he's gone 13-3 3 times since then.
And how many Super Bowls has he won?
Sure.
0.
That's what you're relaying it back to to rings, right? That's what we're getting at. Okay. I'm just trying to understand, because
you're talking win a Super Bowl. First year success, you have to see it in the first year. They're never going to win a Super Bowl. That's what I'm hearing.
If I had to bet right now, gun to my head, is Jordan Love going to win a Super Bowl? I'm saying no.
That's fine. I just think that what you're arguing is different from the point that you're making of you went down. You said that it had to be an elite quarterback to win a Super Bowl. We've already discredited that.
Corey, Hurts is 18-10 this year.
Yeah,
and you said
a lot of picks.
Yeah, you said they're Super Bowl bound. He's got 1 less touchdown than Love.
They're an elite roster.
So what the fuck are we talking about?
Yeah,
I'm telling you,
you're
literally chopped off both of the legs that you have to stand on.
What's the model to win a Super Bowl? Tell me the first step. What's the model? Tell me. What's
You
the
just
first
told us
step?
that's 3-1.
Quarterback.
You just told us it's
Quarterback.
3-1 touchdown to interception ratio. That's obviously not the fucking case.
It's quarterback, right? That's what we're saying.
No, you said you got to be 3-1.
Okay, all right. You got to be 3. Throw that away. What's the first
That's
step?
what we're trying to tell you.
What's the first step? Quarterback. Is Jordan Love the quarterback?
No,
Is
he already
or
said it.
isn't
He already agreed with us. Let's move on.
Is he or is he not? What is it?
It's obviously 3-1, dude.
Okay, you can lynch on. You can hang on to this as long as you want. The 3-1 thing that I said.
I'm gonna lynch onto the point you were trying to make.
I'm making this point right now. Answer that.
Okay, well, if you want to move the goalpost, move the goalpost. But I would like the goalpost to say where it was.
I was putting statistical parameters around this thing that I'm trying to emphasize, that the quarterback is the most important position in football. It's something that we've never fucking disputed ever on this show. And I'm telling you right now that Jordan Love is not good enough to do it. That's my point that I'm making. And I'm willing to say I would not bet on him to be good enough to do it at this point. I would be preparing to move on.
Okay, but then can I sit here and say that Joe Burrow isn't elite because he hasn't won a Super Bowl?
I think you can look at everything that he's done and tell me you can 100% say that he is a top 5 quarterback in this league. I can't do that with Jordan Love.
No, of course not. There just isn't enough data or sample size. So Corey's going to Jacksonville.
I just can't wait till I'm right on this one too.
You'll be right because the goalposts will say you are for whatever argument you want to make.
Okay. How about this? I will say that the Bengals will win a Super Bowl before Jordan Love even wins a division championship.
That's not really what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm not ready to throw out Jordan Love as a good quarterback.
And that's why I'm telling you the Bengals will win a Super Bowl before Jordan Love even wins his division.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of that has to boils down to just flat out luck. I have not seen enough football played from Jordan Love to say throw it out.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan Love has played some games very well. You know, we've seen that this year, and he's also played very, very terribly. You know, it's just we've seen both sides of the coin on it. You know, Corey, I love the passion that you're bringing to the argument, but you have to make sure that the argument is consistent. And
my consistency is that I don't think Jordan Love is good enough to win a Super Bowl, and that's the only point I need.
Okay,
most quarterbacks aren't.
Right.
That doesn't mean they're not good.
See,
again,
we're finding some common ground.
He can be middle of the road. That's fine. I don't want that though. Like if GM hat on, I don't want that. And if I identify that you are that, I want to move on as fast as possible.
Okay, so you're just tossing away Jordan Love after this season, no questions.
I'd wait till the end of his contract, yeah, and then I'm done.
So next year,
yeah.
Didn't they re-sign him to like a 2-3 year extension? It was like very team friendly. It doesn't matter, but
yeah, it's a team option after the 5th year. So that's what you're calling. Yeah, so
there's a reason for that,
right? So that's what Corey's. The point that he's alluding to is that even the organization doesn't have faith that after 2 years of starting that he gets them to the ultimate goal, which is the Super Bowl. I hear it.
I cut my hand during this argument, and it's just I put blood on this table for this podcast, and I love you guys. Thank you.
There. You feel better now?
If I get one from Todd, I will. But
buddy, we got to get back on common ground here.
All right, boys. We got about 10 minutes left. Let's go ahead and round this thing out. We've got the Monday night game. The Cincinnati Bengals headed down to Jacksonville. We'll have one of the 4 of us in attendance. This was a game I was very much looking forward to at the beginning of the season. I thought this was going to be
for almost every Bengals game for the rest of the year. Can we? Just,
yeah, for real.
I'm not trying to be an asshole. Please.
No, you're right. Like especially like.
Don't say it anymore.
I won't.
That's it. That's all I'm asking for. Because you look at their schedule for the rest of the year, and every single week I'm like, God, this has been a fucking. I'm still reeling. I'm not ready to.
And it started last week. Like, yeah. Honestly, it was a game I was not looking forward to last week. at the beginning of the season was to take on these guys once they got rolling. So, Aaron, let's just go ahead and lead this off. Let the guys have the floor to finish it out. Who you got?
Yeah, I took a flyer on the Bengals last week on the fact that I still thought that they had better all around talent, especially on offense, for Browning to at least be able to put up enough points to beat the Steelers. I think the defensive effort that you're going to get out of the Jaguars will be a little bit different than what they got last week in a divisional game against the Steelers. Take them at home though, and we're looking at 8.5 points on the spread. Like it would be strange to me if the Bengals won this game. Not that they can't. But I mean, the Jaguars are now fighting for the number 1 seed in the AFC. So I don't think they're going to look at the Bengals and go, all right, well, this is just going to be an easy win. Let's go ahead and take our foot off the gas. No, I think this is a team that started off a little bit slow, as we all saw, starting with them 1-2 and thinking, all right, what's this team really going to be this year? And really have lost one game to the 49ers since coming home from London. And I think the Jaguars are playing really, really good football right now. Trevor Lawrence has stepped it up. He's looked healthier than he has all year. I'm taking the Jaguars, and barring Browning really, really coming alive or Jamar Chase just going for 180 and 2 touchdowns or something, and really putting the team on his back. Yeah, I think this is the Jaguars all day.
Yeah, this is a tough game, obviously. Calvin Ridley, for most fantasy football owners, I am one of them. Calvin Ridley has been a guy on your team all year that you've been extremely frustrated with up until the last few weeks. He's finally decided that he wants to catch touchdowns and get targeted, which I don't think that's in his control for the most part, but as far as the targets are concerned, but he's actually scoring some points and playing some good football. That being said, the Steelers last week, with Najee Harris and Jalen Warren, had a nice 1-2 punch going against the Bengals defense. I think they're, with the injuries they've had, on the defensive line, I think their run game is, kind of exposed a little bit. And Travis Etienne is better than both Warren and Najee Harris. So with that being said, I don't see the Bengals getting it done in Jacksonville this week. As much as I would love to take the Bengals and see them rebound with Jake Browning, because I think Jake Browning is actually a pretty darn good backup quarterback. He displayed some instances last week where he put some balls in tight windows. There were a few mistakes and penalties, things that just didn't go the Bengals' way. But that being said, the Jags are hot. They've got a great football team, and I think they take this one home. So, Todd.
Yeah, I think the Bengals are going to have a really hard time stopping Travis Etienne, fellas. I mean, we watched this run defense of the Bengals. They're bottom 3. They've stayed in the bottom 3 all year. It's tough. Travis Etienne's kind of had a couple of slow weeks coming back off the bye too, but I see that kind of turning back in the other direction this week. I can address Will's. I'm taking Jacksonville for what it's worth. I'll address Will's question though. If he thinks it's more about play calling, coaching, talent.
I'd like to comment on that too.
Yeah. Really play calling. I think Corey and I have talked about it a lot. That play calling has been kind of wishy-washy in certain situations. I think that's a part of an issue. And I think when you get to a point now where you're playing with a backup quarterback for the remainder of the season, especially with someone with such limited snaps as Jake Browning has, you could pinpoint a lot of it on just inexperience / talent, right? I think a lot of when you get into tough situations, if the Bengals are down by 10 with less than 5 minutes left, I certainly don't have as much faith in Jake Browning to, turn the game around as I did Joe Burrow, right? That's just calling a spade a spade. But I do think that play calling has been. I've watched them call a lot of plays on 2nd and 8 that turned into 3rd and 8 when it very easily could have been 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3. I think that's where I've gotten frustrated through the duration of the year. But yeah, I'm taking Jacksonville.
And just to comment on the coaching side, like let's just get one thing very clear. The Bengals under Zach Taylor are 3-1 against the Chiefs. They're 2-0 against the Bills. They just handed a game to the 49ers. They handled them. They had no issue in beating the 49ers in that game. They were in complete control from almost the entirety of that football game. They've won the division in back-to-back seasons, and in those seasons they went to the AFC Championship both times and the Super Bowl. The only thing that you need to think about is that the Bengals are better under Zach Taylor. It's a statistical fact. They are. And they have performed well under Zach Taylor in playoff games. They're 5-2 in the playoffs, if you include the Super Bowl. So, pretty good, right? A lot better. And you could say, well, they got Joe Burrow right now. They went 12-4 with Andy Dalton and were the 2 seed in the AFC and then lost. 3 seed in the AFC and then lost in the first round of the playoffs against the Steelers. So, it's like what I'm doing right now is putting a massive cold water on any kind of illusions that Zach Taylor is not the right fit here as head coach, because I just think that that's very, very wrong. Zach Taylor is phenomenal. I think he's done.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I hear so many parallels to what you're saying and what's going on here in Cleveland with Stefanski.
Yeah,
where it's like this is the best I've ever seen anything be coached. Is it perfect? No,
it's not.
We have
perfect.
fan bases that are used to, the other shoe dropping, and they're fickle.
So and I can get that, but I have a lot of confidence in Zach Taylor. And one thing I have to remind myself is, guess what? He knows ball better than I do. He does, and that's why he's where he is. And I'm here cutting my hand on a podcast on Wednesday as I yell about quarterbacks. So. Let's just pump the brakes on that. So in this game, I'm taking the Jags. I will be there on Monday night in Jacksonville. Looking forward to it. Something me and my dad do, try and cross the stadium off every year. So looking forward to that. Going to be a lot of fun. And I will be lower bowl because one of the
it's a cool stadium. It's an older stadium. It's a cool stadium.
Way to pick Jacksonville in December, though, dude.
Yeah, dude. Total Michigan man move here, getting out of the wind. I've got a solid 3 inches.
You could have done an early game, crossed one out. No, that's schedule looking.
Yeah, and it was going to be a lot of fun, like we've said. No, I can't. Sorry, Todd, I can't say that. But it was, and me and I'm going to be in the lower bowl. I'm going to be rocking. All this is going to be gone, boys. All this right here, gone. Rocking the stash. I've got my orange bell bottoms pressed, ready to go. Going to have a retro Bengals football, Cincinnati football, 1967, with an orange and black ball, tucked in, white T-shirt tucked in, maybe some Marlboros rolled up, white penny loafers, big gold tiger medallion chain. So I might get on TV. Who knows? I'm going to be looking ridiculous. Is basically what I'm trying to tell you. But we're going to have fun, and it's a low pressure type game, expecting to lose. But if we win, boy, it's like if I went, it's like when I went and saw Bowling Green play Florida in the swamp. I was like, oh, we're gonna get beat. But when we were up 3 in the third quarter, I was like, this is gonna be the shit, dude. But didn't happen. So it'll be fun. Pound some beers, hang out with my dad, my wife, my cousin Eric will be there. It's gonna be a good time, man. We're gonna have a lot of fun.
Nice.
But yeah, Jacksonville, they're gonna win this game because of Travis Etienne. The Steelers demonstrated that you can run all over this Bengals defense, and you got one of the best running backs in the league in Travis. So he's good. I think you look for them to lean on that. Jake Browning, like what I saw out of him was an inability to read the defense in a quick and effective manner, holding on to the ball for too long, missing open guys on potential opportunities, and getting sacked because of it. And you can't do that. It's what Joe Burrow is elite at, it's what this team is built for. So in my opinion, we're tanking for Marvin, and maybe you start to see AJ McCarron in a couple. Bengals don't win another game, they're drafted in the top 5. Like, that's happening.
I don't think he gets out of the top 5. I think he's probably the first non-quarterback taken. He's probably taken 3rd.
We'll see what happens. A lot of weird things happen.
Crazy things that can happen in the draft. But
absolutely.
boys, podcast. A lot of great debate tonight. Chat. Thank you guys for tuning in and sparking a lot of this crazy conversation that we had this evening. It's definitely some things that we'll pick up later this season or maybe shortly after the season finishes. It's going too quickly, in my opinion. I was already telling myself, shut up.
I know you were. I'm gonna see you say it.
Yeah. But no, we've got a lot of good things. The pick'em is relatively tight. 12 weeks into the season, so it's nice to see everybody's still in contention, and we'll kind of see how things play out. But for all of us here, best of luck in your fantasy leagues this week, and we will see you guys next Wednesday, 8:30, for Week 14 pick'em. Chat, we are out. Have a wonderful evening. See ya.
Peace.